Well, City Manager Sheryl Sculley today says the vote earlier this month on Prop B to limit future city managers' salary and tenure played a role in her decision to retire, even though it doesn't affect her.
But I have to say that continuing public discussion and controversy is not in the best interest of the city. And knowing that my contract wasn't affected by Prop B would just keep that conversation alive. And we have so many important things to do for the community. We have an upcoming election season this spring. We have a legislative session, and we need to be directing our attention to those things that move the city forward.
The vote was seen by many as a referendum on Sculley's power and pay. Future city managers will be limited to 8 years in office and a salary of about $270,000, half of what Sculley makes.
Do you think the city will have trouble attracting top talent?
Oh, absolutely. It's very difficult work. Complex. You need someone who's experienced.
The 66-year-old says her job has been made more difficult because she's a woman.
Well, that's been tough. And I would say as a woman, it's even been tougher in San Antonio, perhaps because I didn't grow up here, I'm not sure. But being a woman here has been tough. The unions actually said to me early in this, the disagreements about the collective bargaining agreements, that they didn't want to lose to a girl. It is certainly challenging as a woman, especially if you're a tough woman.
Coming up on Eyewitness News at 5, Sheryl Sculley shares her biggest accomplishments and disappointments over the past 13 years.